Hi there, welcome. We are here today in the Bucks County Guild of Craftsmen exhibition and sale at Hicks Art Center Gallery on the campus of Bucks County Community College. My name is Clifford Eberly. I'm the Exhibitions Associate here, and this is Nick Martier. So welcome,
Hello.
Nick. And so we are actually sitting in your pieces of fine wood working. So tell us about how you make these or where the inspiration came from for these.
So these are sculptural technique developed by Sam Maloof. Anybody that knows Sam Maloof will definitely see the resemblance. They're not Maloof knockoffs like they are my designs. They're just based off of his technique. And it's done mostly with the bandsaw, rough cutting. Then I glue everything together and I'll shape it with a wood rasp.
Okay.
Or like a lot of chisels and gouges.
Right.
Lots of sanding.
And your studio's down in Bristol Borough.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of visiting it, and I was very impressed by the level of just the tools in general, and just the organization, and seeing the sort of progression of where you where you buy your wood, you source the wood, and then like the various ways parts of the furniture is made. Is that process like from start to finish? Like how long does that take usually?
It takes a while. So a rocker will take a month.
Okay.
To make, start to finish.
Right. So
there's a lot of, because most of the shaping, 99% of the shaping is hand tools. And, once I get everything glued up to that rough stage before I start shaping, like that takes like 2 days. Right. And then the rest is just shaping and sanding.
And I believe you told me these are, they're not stained. You use the natural wood color, yes, and then you seal it with like a wax or oil?
Oil.
Okay.
So boiled linseed oil, tung oil, mixed with polyurethane. Okay. So it's just wipe on, wipe off.
Nice.
Very but good. See, to get that finish, you can't just sand it with, a couple pieces of sand. Like you have to sand it 7 grits going up in order.
Right.
All by hand, because with the first one I tried to use a power sander and it would mess up the contours and everything. So it's all hand sanded, which takes about a week and a half just to sand it. Sure. And then you can put the finish on it. So if you're from back there, if you see it's shining, that's the wood itself shining. Like when I'm done sanding, the wood shines like it has a dull finish on it. Mm-hmm. The finish itself is more of like a satin. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. At first, you see it's shiny, nice, but as you come up to it, it doesn't have that plastic polyurethane shine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. I had the opportunity to take a course here at Bucks, and so I kind of understand the level of how much time it takes. Mm-hmm. I pretty much failed the course, but I was able to get a little bit of a beginner experience.
I'm self-taught, so I probably would have failed the course.
Right. Well, you were telling me you took like a shop course in high school. Is that right?
I did. In high school, I learned a little bit of the basics, but all of this stuff I kind of figured out how to do on my own.
Yeah. And what was your introduction to Maloof? Or you mentioned earlier the connection. You were watching This Old House a lot?
No, that was years later when I was a carpenter.
Oh, years later. Okay.
So in high school, I got into trouble, and I wasn't allowed in the wood shop for the rest of the day. And I found a VHS of Maloof making a rocker, and that just changed everything. Like from then on, I was like, I want to do this. This is awesome.
So it was like your light bulb moment of
yeah. And then, but then when school ended, that was it. Mm-hmm. I took a job with my uncle as a carpenter and learned a lot from him. I mean, I would say he's my mentor, really. Mm-hmm. Even though he's not a woodworker, he taught me the basics of safety, the integrity of doing what you say you're going to do and
Right.
things like that. So I worked for him for 15 years. I really enjoyed carpentry, and I would watch This Old House all the time to learn different things. And then I started watching New Yankee Workshop, watching Norm build furniture.
Right.
And was like, I want to get back into that. And then when it was time to go out on my own as a carpenter, I didn't like it. I did not like being a contractor.
Right.
So I was
And then you
all
took a leap somewhere along the way too.
Yeah, I just bought a bunch of tools and was like, all right, I'm a woodworker. And I just figured it out.
Right. And so when people see your work, I know you do a lot of shows, a lot of fine craft shows around. You've been accepted to the best ones in the country, basically. At least on the East Coast, we've had the Philadelphia Museum one recently.
Yes.
And then upcoming is the Smithsonian Fine Craft Exhibition?
Fine Craft Fair.
Right, okay.
And next month we'll be in Baltimore for the American Craft Council.
Right, that's another big one. So that's obviously a sort of stamp of acceptance in a way to the fine craft world. But so when people go to those shows, that's where they see the work that you make, the prototypes.
Yes.
And then from there, they're able to place orders, essentially.
Yes, exactly. So that was Kristen's idea. So my wife, Kristen, who runs the business.
Sure.
So I made the first rocking chair during the quarantine. And we put it on social media. And it got a lot of likes, but you can't sit in it on the internet. So I was like pulling my hair out because I just wanted people to sit in it and feel, you know, I put a lot of thought into the comfort of it, not just the aesthetics. And she was the one who got the idea. Let's do some craft shows. And then just thinking like, let's do some craft shows. People can sit in it. And then, you know, whatever. No thoughts of actually selling anything. And like the second one we did, somebody was like, all right, I'll take one. And we were like, I don't know what to do. So we like got their email and then they left and we were like, should we have gotten a check? Should we?
A deposit or something.
But then the one lady that was next to us kind of was like, you guys need help. So she took us in and kind of showed us what to do and how to do it.
Right.
So
and is
it takes a village.
What's that?
It takes a village.
Yeah. And is that how your experience with the Guild is as well? People are help each other to figure things out.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the people I've met in the Guild have just, it's been amazing. Like the friendships I've made and the things I've learned is pretty awesome.
That's great. And how many different designs do you do? Do you explore different new designs, or have you pretty much stuck with ones from the beginning? And
no, I'm always trying to come up with new things, always trying to improve on old things. So I'm continually changing little things on the chair, always trying to kind of make it thinner, more elegant. I feel like I want to make it as thin and elegant and strong as possible.
Right.
So kind of knock off an eighth of an inch here, if I can shave off a little bit there, and just kind of.
So the profile to you is really important for the chairs.
Because I mean, you don't want to feel a big clunky chair. You want to be comfortable in all the senses, you know.
Sure. I mean, it almost feels, in this chair, it feels like I don't really feel like the wood necessarily, the hardness of it. It feels very like I'm light. It feels like I'm not being sort of hemmed in by anything. It has this very comfortable feeling to it that you wouldn't think wood would have necessarily.
Thank you. That was the goal. So that's
right.
More than anything, like you could make a chair look beautiful, but if you can't sit in it, it's useless.
Yeah.
Like its main purpose is a seat. If it's uncomfortable, what's the point?
Right. That's great. Well, are there any, you have the one show coming up, or two actually, and that's through the spring, and then what do you think will happen later in the spring, summertime of 2025?
So for most of the spring and summer, I'll be just in my studio making furniture. And then in the fall, we'll be back out doing the shows and
right.
hustling, hawking furniture.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing I remember we talked about briefly before was, and you, in the pandemic, you wanted people to sit in your chair, but I remember you telling me about your experience in the pandemic of how you worked in a studio, not in Bristol, but up in Bucks
Yes.
County.
Well, yeah, so prior to COVID, I was doing a lot of built-ins and coffered ceilings, wainscoting type of woodworking. So I would have to go to people's houses and work there. So I was just never home. I worked nonstop. It was just awful. And I had two small kids and never got to see them. And then everything shut down and it just complete 180. We were just together all the time. I was renting a space on a 90-acre farm. So we would wake up every morning and just make our coffees and our drinks, and we'd bring the dog, and we would just go to the shop every day. They would sit, do their schoolwork on the computer, and then when they were done, they would come in to the studio, and I would show my daughter all the machines and what they do, and my son would take little scraps from the bandsaw and glue and make these little sculptures. And that was when, excuse me, Kristen started getting involved in the business end, and that was like the light bulb.
Pivotal.
Like, this is working. Like this could work.
Level. Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, let's go for it."
That's
and
great.
I never left the shop.
Well, and now, do you think your kids will have they started? Have you seen their interest in what you do? Or?
Yes and no. My daughter has always shown an interest, and she shows a little bit. She was in the shop with me this summer, gluing up some boards, but not so much. I tease her because she's starting high school next year, and so she keeps talking about where she wants to go to college and stuff. And I'll be like, "You don't have to go to college. I don't require a degree to work for me." She'll be, "Dad."
That's funny.
But they're into it, and they're interested. My daughter does all our social media,
right?
Does TikToks and edits all the videos and stuff like that. And I think my son just has such an eye for design. Mm-hmm. So I hope he shows more of an interest and can get into the design part of it.
Sure.
But I guess they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. You might influence them a little bit in their decisions, but that's great. It's wonderful to have that lineage of possibility anyway,
yeah.
of how things progress with your designs.
Mm-hmm. And it's just great that it is 100% a family business. Like, to have everybody involved just makes it so much better.
Right. Well, and to have familial support is so important too. Like with friends and family, I know that's how a lot of people really get started. It's the support of.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. Yeah. I have so many people in my corner supporting me and helping me. I couldn't do without. I could never do without them. It's just, they've been such a tremendous help.
That's great. Well, thank you for coming in today and
thanks for having me.
Bringing your chairs here to the gallery and for the exhibition. It's been a pleasure to now sit in this. I hadn't sat in it before. And
no? You didn't sneak in?
No. So it was on a platform earlier, but
right.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure to experience this. And I know the faculty and students here really responded to this piece in particular, and
awesome.
So it's been great to have it here, and we'll miss it.
Thank you for this. Has been an excellent show. You really did a great job curating everything.
Thank you.
Opening night and all that was really nice.
Yeah, and the public is welcome to come back on the 25th. We'll be having a closing reception from 12 to 3. so you can experience Nick's furniture firsthand and all the other pieces in the exhibition. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
Take care. Thank you.